passing by.
Thank you for listening to Cleve, Loveland, and Bruce Woodburn on the Loveland Report Loan Arranger Show. We are here to give you your news like we've been doing every Saturday, 25 years, updating the Central Florida real estate and mortgage market. And I think the big news this week, Bruce, we've got some great numbers in. Inventory, I think part of this is probably a little bit of the COVID, the Omicron rush we had with COVID.
The Omicron.
People sick over the past couple of weeks, but not a lot of new listings this month. A lot of sales.
Right.
And inventory actually dropped. Inventory's been hovering around 30.
It dropped even lower than 3 weeks?
It did. It dropped to about like 2.5 weeks. It went from like 3,200 listings to 2,500 listings. And usually December is a slow listing month, but it's, I think, those factors combined, you got some buyer fatigue because, listings are actually taking about a week or so longer to sell. The average time on the market's about 4.5 weeks instead of 3. It was about 2.5 weeks 6 months ago.
Right.
So, and people keep pushing their prices up and up and up. And I'm seeing this because I'm getting calls from people who have been listed for 90 days. Believe it or not, there's 300 or 400 people a month that don't sell out of that 2,500.
Sure.
So
and if the prices are too high,
yeah,
and people are starting to see that happening, where people may be getting a little greedy, but that happens in this type of market.
It does.
They keep inching that price up until.
I talked to somebody the other day. They said, "Well, if I get the price I want, well, you're going to get the market price plus a little bump because it's a great market." Buyers have so much information in their cell phone right there, and they also have walked through 4 of their homes that sold. And they can look at you and go, yeah, you're not as nice. So you're not going to get 30 grand more than the last guy that sold. And that's what people are doing. And then they're getting bad guidance from maybe inexperienced professionals helping them.
Well, or they'll make a price. They'll come in over ask price. Then they get the appraisal and inspection back. And then they're negotiating back on their price again.
So it's always good. If you want great pricing advice, give me a buzz. I can always help you with that and help you up front so you don't waste time. Because the other part of the puzzle, especially if you're buying again, is how do you do that? And we can get you, find you the house before you buy. If you can qualify, you can recast their mortgage after they close on their second house. You can do leapfrog. We can rent the house you're in, build you some wealth. There's all kinds of things you can do, but coordinating that process is difficult. And you don't want to trust that to somebody who's on maybe their 5th or 6th, even 4th, 5th, 6th year in real estate. You want to do somebody that's been doing it for 30 years like I have. Call me at 407-352-8118. And then I want to ask you, give your number out, Bruce. I want to ask you about the market.
And if you have any questions for the Loan Arranger or you're considering buying or refinancing a home, feel free to give me a call at 407-250-9144, 407-250-9144. I've been in the mortgage business, Cleve. It will be 33 years on March the 19th. 33 years, March 19th. So if you want an expert in the field, I can promise you will never find a better mortgage company that cares more about their clients than we do at CrossCountry Mortgage, the Loan Arrangers team, 407-250-9144, or my website at webringyouhome.com.
Got to ask you.
Yes.
Wild week.
Crazy week.
Uncle Sleepy Joe, inflation, everything, all these worries. Crash the market. Not crash it. I guess it's a good adjustment, 10%. We haven't seen that since the beginning of COVID. What happened to the interest rates?
Well, actually, this week was not such a bad week. It was the 2 weeks prior to that we really took a hit. So just putting this in perspective, in the last 30 days, actually even less than 30 days, we've lost over 200 basis points in the bond market. Now, what does that mean to a consumer? They don't know how does that affect me, right?
Yeah.
What effect does that have? For each 100 basis points, it costs you an extra point in your mortgage. So a $300,000 mortgage would cost you an extra $3,000 in loan costs. But clients don't want to pay those extra points.
So they put it in the rate.
So you bump the rate up. The rate would go up about a quarter point. And we saw about a quarter point increase in the last 2 weeks.
So we're in the mid threes?
We're in the mid, yeah. Even national average was around 3.5% just last week.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for national average to come out. And it's difficult to... Don't get too caught up on a national average because everyone's different.
Yep.
If your credit scores are 800, you're not getting the same interest rate as if they're 625.
Yep.
And as you shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
So the better your scores, the better your rate. But that's an average, and I see most people are coming in between 3.5 and 3 3/4 in today's market. I had a client that today told me that she was shopping rates and she had a 2.5% or two 2.75% interest rate quote. And I said,
On a 15?
no, well, that's what I said. I said, oh, a 15-year. I said, if you buy that down, you could probably get that. She goes, no, I got a quote on a 30. And I said, well, that's below what a mortgage company would pay for it. So why would they do that? Did you give them all your information? Oh, yeah, I did. I said, so they pulled your credit and they have your information. She goes, oh, no, I just told them what it was.
Yeah.
So I said, well, you can't go to a doctor.
But everybody's rates are about the same.
Well, everybody's rates are about the same, but I'm seeing a lot of mortgage companies that are very predatory, that are charging excessive points to get that rate. Don't get caught up in that game, you guys. It's not worth it. And I had a client that I swore it was one of the hardest conversations I had to try to convince a client not to get ripped off by another mortgage company. Yeah. And I'm telling you, they were charging him 3 points to get this rate.
That's robbery.
His break-even point, Cleve, listen to this. His break-even point to recoup the almost $10,000 in points that he was paying was
7 years.
207 months. 207 months. I'm like, dude.
10 years.
Just
about. So now this leads me into the next thing I'm talking about, Bruce. So the main thing, though, but buying a house, they want all these multiple offers and low inventory. What people are competing with, they need to get with you. Go to WeBringYouHome.com and get fast-tracked.
Absolutely. Fast-track is so much better than the typical bank or mortgage company's pre-approval, because a pre-approval means that the loan officer has checked off the boxes and looked at your pay stubs, W-2s. I'm going to tell you something. If you trust the loan officer, and here you're hearing one. I'm a loan officer. I interview other loan officers every day. If you trust the loan officer that your loan is approved, whether you're going to the Rocket, you're going to your bank, you're going to the credit union, there are chances that transaction is going to fall apart. Most of them are commission-based, even with credit unions and banks. They're commission-based. So they're going to say yes before they're going to look hard.
Yeah.
So my fast track that Cleve loves because it helps him win more offers for his buyers is an underwritten full approval, not an automated underwriting, but a full underwritten pre-approval. When my clients are pre-approved with fast track, I will call the listing agent when my client's making an offer on a purchase, and I will guarantee the listing agent that I will close that transaction on time, and I can close that in as little as 21 days.
That's important when you got 5 or 10 offers you're competing against.
Or listen to this. I'll pay the seller up to $500 a day for every day I miss the closing.
Not that you have to do that, but that's going to put that offer.
Well, I'm not going to have to do it because I'm going to
offer on the top of the stack of other offers.
Are you interested in this? Call the loan arranger at 407-250-9144, 407-250-9144, or go directly to my website and apply at WeBringYouHome.com.
Bruce, have you heard about the foreclosure wave coming?
Oh, yeah, the big
COVID?
wave coming.
Oh, God. Now, I remember hearing this after 2008, 9, 10, and everybody's like, oh, the foreclosures are going away and we're coming out of this, but the banks are sitting on a shadow inventory of foreclosures. Well, poppycock.
It is poppycock.
And now I'm getting there's people saying, oh, there's going to be a wave of COVID foreclosures. But your defaults, I mean, you're a big nationwide lender.
Very almost non-existent.
And so here, nationwide, in the country, number of foreclosures, 151,000. So divide that by 50. So that's 3,000, 4,000 homes in Florida maybe in foreclosure, down 30% from 2020.
Right. Well,
and down 95% from 3 million properties in 2010. That's how many were out there foreclosed on.
Here's my take on that. For all of you people that are sitting ready to prey on these folks that may have missed some payments or went into forbearance during COVID, here's the thing. Banks are smarter than they were in 2007 and 8. Okay? They're a lot smarter. They had all the robo-signing. They got in trouble with these foreclosures. They had to dump them. They had to pay back taxes on them. Now they're far more willing to work with a client that will be able to make their payments, but just had some rough times. So they'll tack them onto the back of the transaction, and everybody will be able to keep their home. You don't want to give up a home when you're gaining equity like you are in this market. You want to do everything you can to work with that bank and keep that house. Right? Yeah. Why would you want to give up a house that you're sitting on $20, $30, $50, $100,000 in equity on?
Yeah, and it's just in this market, the important thing is if you're going to make a move, give us a call. We'll help you plan that out. This is besides your financial planner who handles your 401k and talks to you about retirement. Bruce and I are helping you with another big chunk of your wealth planning for your retirement and for your family, your family's wealth. And we want to make sure you make the right decision. Don't put down too much money. Don't pay too many points. Don't overpay for a house, which can be done even in this market. And there's some ways, and it's part of knowing the market and knowing what's out there. I mean, when my agents show a buyer a house and it just hit the market 3 days ago and they talk to the listing agent and they know there's a couple other offers, but you look at the comps and it's $100,000 over what everybody else is at. It's at $799. It should be at $699. It's probably not going to go for $799, but we'll look at those comps and help
Cleve,
educate you.
let me ask you a question. As a real estate professional and a trusted advisor to your clients, you got a buyer and he wants to buy a house and the house is on the market for $450,000. But in order for him to get it, he's got to pay $20,000 more. Okay? Do you ever look at that transaction and go, yep, I could sell this guy a house and I'm going to make a hefty commission when I do it, but I got to look at that and go, you know what, John, or whatever his name is, it's not, I wouldn't advise you do that. I think that's truly overpaying it, even though the price will probably catch up at some point.
Yeah.
I think you're overpaying right now.
And you get a sense of that when you get a good education.
But how often do you have those conversations?
I haven't had to talk anybody out of overpaying for a house lately, but I've had some buyers that lost out on their offer. And what it is I think you get people. This is the part, the media likes to glamorize, we got all these people coming in from these COVID states that are still shut down, all the blue states where they're still being a little pushy with their mandates and everything. People are coming here to be free in Florida. And some of that, like I know for a fact we lost one to an out-of-town buyer that came in like way above list price. Probably doesn't care though, because he just sold something for $900,000 in New York,
sure,
coming here to buy more house for $600,000. So those things happen, but anecdotally, I would say, not all the time, not rule of thumb. Still, Central Florida is fueled by Floridians just making moves, making bigger houses, smaller houses, newer houses, more land, less land, and other Floridians coming here. There's more Floridians coming from other parts of Florida to Central Florida, and that's what's going to keep our market strong, even if the rest of the country ever does start to slow down, because we're predicting still tight inventory from the builders. I've got some great listings, by the way, from the builders, and it's just they are having supply chain problems. They're 9 months to build a house instead of 5. And it's going to take a while to sort that out. So the inventory, resale homes, is going to remain low.
Absolutely.
But to get out there and do that, they need to get with you and get fast tracked. If you're going to look, call me. I just talked to a guy out of putting in the wrong colors in his house. He was making his house look exactly like it did when he bought it in 2004. Golds and beige and new tile and all. He goes, well, I'm going with 36-inch tile instead of 12-inch tile. I go, no. All right, we got to change the colors. Look, I'm showing him pictures of newer homes and what they look like. I know all these things. I've got a 50-point staging checklist. I can help you get the maximum out of your house if you're selling and make sure you make the right buy when you buy.
You want a trusted real estate agent, not just somebody that's a glorified taxi driver. Give Cleve a call. He can be reached at 407-352-8118. That's 407-352-8118. If you're looking for a great mortgage, if you're looking for somebody that's going to take really good care of you or your family members, look, I'd love to earn your business. My team and I are there for you. I've got people on call 7 days a week. You can reach the loan arranger directly on my cell phone number by text or phone call at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144, or go to my website at webringyouhome.com.
How much time we got, Bruce?
We've got about 1 minute and 15 seconds left.
When we get back, I want to talk about 2 hot new communities, actually 3 hot new communities, and then real quick, guess who made the best state for retirement out of Fox
Florida.
Business? Yep. Best state, costs, low taxes, low housing costs compared to the rest of the country. While that is moving up, I can't wait to see that number, Bruce. I'm predicting we're number 14th in the union.
Well, you could be right about that, but I still think that Florida is a buying opportunity. I think that we're still undervalued. And look I'm already seeing the connection between Tampa and Orlando. Auburndale's booming now.
Yeah.
Lakeland is literally on fire.
Yeah.
And it's going to shrink that corridor up, and we're going to have housing communities throughout it. Why not do that?
Super sprawl.
We'll be back in 5 minutes with Cleve, Loveland, and the Lone Ranger Show. Stay tuned.